Donald Trump has made it clear that, if re-elected, he intends to carry out the largest deportation program in American history. As the presidential race heats up, no issue has brought out more fervent reactions than immigration, and for Trump, it has become a defining strategy. His focus on border security helped him win the White House, and now, with his return to politics, he is doubling down on his promise. In his latest campaign statements, Trump vowed that his administration would undertake what he calls the most aggressive and sweeping effort to secure the U.S. borders. He has described these measures as a firm response to the influx of migrants, many of whom are arriving at the southern border, a place where hopes of a better life often come to a heartbreaking halt. Our correspondent, Will Grant, traveled to Tijuana, a Mexican border city, to speak with those waiting for a chance to cross into the United States. For many, the journey to this point has been long and perilous. Migrants from across Latin America make their way through dangerous terrain, fleeing violence, poverty, and instability. One such person, Oralia, arrived in Tijuana after escaping cartel violence in Mexico. She is now stuck in a migrant shelter with her children, having waited for months to lodge an asylum request. Oralia's hope has been shattered with the renewed threat of mass deportations. "Now we've lost hope of being able to cross," she says, her voice tinged with despair. "I'll have to find somewhere to live in Mexico and trust in God to keep us safe." For those running migrant shelters in Tijuana, the situation has become increasingly dire. They face dual challenges: not only the arrival of more migrants fleeing violence, but also the looming reality of mass deportations. "We don't know how many people will come across the border needing our help, but together, that could create a huge problem," one shelter worker says, their concern palpable. In the shadow of the border fence, a small group of migrants and activists gathered to protest Trump's harsh policies. However, their voices seem to get lost amid the clamor of calls from within the U.S. for tougher immigration measures. Trump's rhetoric about securing the border and cracking down on illegal immigration has resonated strongly with many Americans, making it difficult for those advocating for migrants to make headway. There is, however, a distinction between Trump's rhetoric and the reality of his past actions. During his previous time in office, despite his frequent promises of a massive border wall, only 80 miles of new fencing were constructed. Still, his promises of sweeping deportations hang heavy, and people on both sides of the border are watching closely, bracing for what's to come. The immediate impact of Trump's return to power would fall on the millions of undocumented immigrants already living in the United States, as well as those still waiting at the border. As Trump prepares for his inaugural speech, these individuals are filled with anxiety, uncertain of what executive orders will follow and what drastic changes will be made to the country's immigration system. As Trump looks toward his second term, the fate of countless migrants hangs in the balance, their hopes and fears tied to the policies of a man who has made immigration the centerpiece of his political agenda. On the U.S.-Mexico border, those waiting for a chance to enter the United States hold their breath, uncertain of what the future holds.